welcome to La Cucina Familia. I'm Angela Dominic, and we're down here in beautiful Gloucester Harbor. Today on the show, we're going to be doing fish stew. Not just one version, but two. We're going to do my traditional Sicilian, as well as we're going to mix it up a little bit and do a Thai version. When we get back to the kitchen, Rob's going to help me out with that one. But right now, we're here at Inner Shell Seafood, where we're going to go ahead inside and meet the fish cutter. He's going to teach us how to cut some beautiful striped bass right here from the harbor, as well as some nice fresh cod. And a really neat thing today, we're going to learn how to shuck a scallop. So why don't we go ahead inside and check it out. Follow me. Okay. So here we are inside the seafood processing plant here at Inner Shell. And we're talking with Georgie, who's one of the master fish cutters here at Inner Shell, and he's going to show us how to cut the fish we're going to use in the fish stew today. The first one we're going to work with looks like a beautiful giant striped bass. Georgie, tell me a little bit about what a striped bass is all about.
All right, well, these are seasonal. They swim down up the Cape, and they swim on the warm waters in the summertime, and the local fishermen cut them right off the shore.
So these fish are caught like right out here in the water.
This was probably swimming last night.
Very cool. So what are we going to do? We're going to give them we're going to cut them.
I'm just going to cut them off the fillet, and then I'll skin it up.
All right. Ooh, off with the head.
No, that's too much work. And we just run it down the back, and we'll make sure we get all the bones out of the way.
Following right down the fish's spine.
Yep, right down the spine. And we'll go right around the ribs. Oh, board will cooperate.
Yeah, slippery buggers.
Yeah. Oh.
Wow, that looks like a beautiful piece of fish.
Yes, and it is still fresh.
Holy cow.
That's the fine part. Now, you only wanted this much, right?
Yeah, we're going to need probably, I would think, we're going to use the striped bass in the Thai version of the fish stew today, but we're also going to use some scallops, which we're going to take a look at a little bit. So we probably need a couple pounds worth. So,
okay.
Yeah.
We'll get you about this much on?
Yeah, I'll take the tail.
Okay.
You're also going to skin that for me today too,
Sure.
aren't you? Awesome. That's something I want to do when we get back to the house.
Oh, it isn't that bad.
No.
It's kind of tough, but...
You got all the tools. Looks like you're all set up for it.
Oh, yes. A nice piece of fish.
So can you believe it? That fish was swimming last night right out here in Gloucester Harbor.
Yep. We're good to go.
Yeah.
Pick off a little piece of mist.
Yeah. That looks beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. So that's our striped bass that we're going to use for the Thai version of the fish stew. And then the next one we're going to work on is we're going to use some cod in the Sicilian version of the fish stew.
Oh, okay.
So can we get a couple pounds worth of that as well?
Clean this up a little bit. We want to get it all messy.
Yeah, we're gonna do a little quick cleanup, and then we'll work with the cod. Let me get right.
Yep, don't get wet. Easy.
Yeah. Although I got my yellow apron on, I'm all set to go here. Keeping dry. Now this is a codfish. Now this is more what someone would go into the grocery store and buy.
Yes, these are basically cut offshore, but we do have a few fishermen that are local, and they just go out for the day, and they set out their nets, and they come back in the afternoon, and we just pick these right up.
So these two are fish that are caught right out here off of Gloucester Harbor.
Yes, they are. We've got a local guy that comes down and he fishes maybe 2-3 days out of the week just to get himself some money.
So when we go to the fish market and we're looking at like cods or haddock or things like that, what is it that we're looking for when we want to make sure that the fish is fresh?
All right, the clarity of the fish. See how it's not white like you usually get the frozen ones? They're white.
Right.
These are more clear.
A little transparent.
Yep, transparent.
Yep.
And we just go in here.
Yeah, let me get out of your knife's way.
Make sure we get all this off.
Yeah, see, now that looks just like what you want to be looking for when you go to the fish market.
Yeah, exactly.
That's beautiful.
Sometimes you get it at the other stores.
Now, this is still a little pink. Is that because it's so fresh?
Yes. Basically, yes. It's still got the blood coming through it and stuff. It's brand new.
Right. So now you get two sides off the fish, obviously. Yep.
And this is just the same way, just backwards.
Yep. All right.
And this is very easy.
So when you're making something like a stew or a chowder, do you recommend a codfish?
Codfish usually holds up a lot better. There's some fish that it'll break down, and just because of the heat and just the process of cooking it, will break down the fish so that it doesn't come out. You don't get the pieces. It just comes out into like mush.
So you'd recommend cod over haddock for something like that?
Yeah, haddock's more of a bacon fish. I'd
Okay.
rather use that in the oven, you know, breadcrumb and stuff.
But this striper looks like, can I touch it?
Oh, sure, go
Yeah,
ahead.
this looks like a really firm fillet, so that should hold up really well as well
Yes.
in the stew.
Yeah, striper should hold up fine.
I actually have a recipe that I use striped bass for, and I grind it up and I make it into a striped bass burger, which
I
is
make
really
salmon burgers.
Yeah. See, same kind of deal. Yeah, nice fish for that. And then we're gonna check out one more.
Yep.
He's pretty quick at all this.
Yeah, time is money.
Yeah, you've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah. Well, cutting fish, I've been cutting here for a couple years now, and then I've done it in several other places. Just work my way around the wharf where there's money. you
Yeah,
know.
where there's fish, there's money.
Yep.
Down here in Gloucester, it's a really giant industry. I grew up on the Portland waterfront my father had a fish plant up there, processing plant, so I'm kind of used to the smell, so it's not really so bad for me.
Yeah. Well, my grandfather had me on the fishing boat when I was real young out of Newport, Rhode Island.
Nice.
So I've been basically around fish my entire life. See?
Yeah, beautiful. That's a beautiful fillet. That's going to make some yummy eats in a little while. So now in the basket, we've got our nice big piece of striped bass that we're going to use for the Thai version of our fish stew. And then the rest of this is all of the beautiful fresh cod that we're going to use in the Sicilian version of our fish stew. The next thing we're going to use is going to be some scallops. And I think Daisy's going to come on in and do that for us, right?
There you go, Daisy.
Come on in, Daisy.
Don't be shy.
Don't be shy is right. So you're going to show us what we're going to do here. Georgia, you can walk us through it a little bit if you don't mind.
Stick this right over here. We bring the whole table over. Doing the 9 yards right there.
There we go, perfect.
Now, she's just basically checking it for any pieces of skin, any loose bones, and loose trimmings on the edges or anything like that. Any parasites in it or anything like that.
So that way everything looks perfect when it gets to the consumer. This is beautiful. To see a fish with the pink still in it, you just don't find that very often, unless you're standing right here getting it cut yourself. Actually, let's put this right down here and we can package it up down here if that's all right. Beautiful. Perfect fillets. So Daisy's really the detail girl. Fridays, we do fish on Friday down at Dom's, and so Friday's probably the most popular day as far as soups and stews go, because people always know that I always insist on the freshest, best quality fish we can find. And that's why I come down here and get it. Beautiful. That's pretty cool. And one more piece.
When you get a nice fish like that, you don't really have to work it.
Nice. Beautiful. All right. So that's all of our cod. There we go. It's beautiful. They're perfect fillets. And like I said earlier, that they've got this beautiful, still a little bit of a pink hue to it, which means that the blood was just running through them not too long ago. It's beautiful, fresh fish. It's going to not have any smell whatsoever to it when it's fresh like this. Perfect. And then the same thing you're going to be looking for when you're looking at the striper is that it's going to smell like maybe a little bit like the ocean, but really not like much at all. And it's the same kind of thing where we've got this nice opaqueness, and you know, when you cook it, it's going to get white and flaky, but to know that it's fresh, it's going to be nice and firm and have a nice, no slimy, right? No slimy.
That comes with the age.
Right. So now we're standing with Marisol here, and she's doing scallops, which is really kind of cool that we're going to get to see how you actually shuck a scallop. You shuck them? Is that what you call it? Just like shucking a clam?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was pretty cool. So she's just taking her knife and opening them up, and inside, there they are. Look at that. See that? There's the beautiful scallop there on the shell, and then we just cut them off. And that's as easy as it is to clean scallops. we're going to use the scallops that we get from Medisol's shucking here today to do the Thai version of the fish stew. She's quick. How many scallops do you shuck in a day usually?
Well, I haven't shucked all day, but sometimes I do like 40 pounds per hour.
40 pounds per hour.
Yeah, but it's from Massachusetts.
Massachusetts, yeah.
Yeah.
So all the fish that we're going to be using today comes locally, right here from Massachusetts. Hey, now that we're back in the kitchen, we're going to get started with the fish stew. I'm going to do the Sicilian version, the traditional one that we serve down at the restaurant. And Rob, my sous chef from down at Dom's, is going to do the Thai version. The Thai version's a little hipper. He's going to use some fun things. He's got some red chili soaking in some pineapple juice, a little younger version. So we're going to leave that one up to Rob. First thing we're going to do is go ahead and get started chopping our aromatics. So let's grab our onions, Rob.
Let's do that.
All right, here, go ahead.
Thank you very much.
I got the big one. That means I'm going to cry more.
Don't cry, Ange.
No. So when I was out one day at the restaurant, and Rob had to make my fish stew. And so I said, go ahead, do whatever you'd like with it. And this is the version that he came up with. So
It was a big hit, too. Everybody loved it.
people did like it. It's a little different. You know, it's got, tell me some of the differences about the stew, Rob.
It's got a little more heat to it. It's got a couple more Asian flavors, a little bit of soy. It's got some regular old fish sauce that comes out of a beautiful Chinese market in downtown Boston. It's actually award-winning. They've been making it for 45 years about.
The fish sauce, what's in a fish sauce?
Fish sauce is, it actually sounds kind of gross, but it's really, really, really delicious. It's got fermented anchovies and fish extract, which they puree, and then they just let it sit in water in the sun for about 3 days until it's really, really fermented.
That's why it's
And
so...
you get that very, very, very pungent fish taste. So you only need just a couple drops.
Yeah, that's why it's so fishy. So we both have got a red onion here. So you'll see us chopping a lot of the same ingredients, and then next thing you know, Rob will be doing something fun, something a little different than me, and that's where you'll see the differences. Whoops, that's not a good way to do that. Woo! Red onions, get you crying.
Yeah,
First thing of the day here. All right, I'm going to start first by going over to the stove and getting my onions chopped. While I'm doing that, Rob, you can keep working on the aromatics?
Absolutely.
All right. Let's see here. Oops, these should have been on. Nice. Why isn't my tick going away? All right, we're going to put some olive oil down in the pan, just a little bit, just enough to coat the bottom of the pan. That's some nice olive oil there. And then we're going to put our onions in. You want me to get you heated up?
Absolutely, that would be fantastic.
All right, let's get Rob's burner on too, so the pan's ready for him, and he's not waiting for it. All right, I'm going to put a little salt and pepper on my onions, just to start the layering of flavor, on top of the fact that the salt is going to help reduce the onions. It's going to help let the moisture out of them and get